Hey, hey, Inspired Tribe. Welcome to the Live Inspired live stream. It is November 5th. Remember, the 5th of November of the year 2000 and transformational 20. And we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, and we're free. Welcome to the last official live stream of this week. We're going to talk about the new age today. You've heard this term so many times. We've all heard it, what it means or what it doesn't mean, and the ridicule around it, the excitement around it, and really from especially where we're going. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey, Agnieszka, how's it going? Please, when you enter, please do hit the like button. If you feel like it, please share this on your socials with your friends. Hey, Siobhan, good to see you guys. So that's what we, together breathing. And the importance of breathing, we keep talking about it, but how you can shift within a few seconds, within a few moments, how you can create a shift in your experience, in your life. And that's basically what this is about. We're just going to wait till a few more people jump on. That's usually take a couple minutes until everyone's here. Then we're going to do that. Meanwhile, I wanted to let you all know that, we have now, for those of you who are just joining in or haven't been with us for a while, recently released the pre-recorded courses, the Inspired 1, the Inspired 2. You can do them on your own time now. If you go to our website, inspiredchannel.net, that's where you can find all the info and where you can, get the, and this is really transformational work. Might be a plus. All right, hey Nellies, hey Margaret, good to see you guys. Let's do this. I'm going to set a timer here. Let's be ambitious, not a crazy 1 minute, but let's do 45 seconds. And I'm going to ask you the same thing that I did last time. What I want you to do is, before we do that, tune in, check in, and just notice for a second where you stand right now in terms of well-being, in terms of excitement, joy, whatever it is that you desire to feel, comfort, balance, all those things. Check in on a scale of 1 to 10. How comfortable do you feel right now? How high is your well-being? Be honest with yourself. Maybe it's, maybe it's a 10, maybe it's a 1, maybe it's somewhere in between. Just pick a number that feels accurate right now. And then we're going to move into this breath work for 40 seconds or so. And let's see what happens in such a short period of time. Emma's at a 9, so awesome. Margaret is at a 7. That's pretty high numbers. Good, exciting. Nellis is at a 6. Lilith 8. Good, guys. So let's do this. I'm gonna really look at the timer here for 45 seconds. I want you to join. We're gonna do a increase. So we're gonna increase the tempo and the intensity. But the idea is to raise your arms, close your eyes, and take deep, very deep, intense breaths. And we're going to get faster and faster until we're at the end of the 45 seconds. So close your eyes. Let go of the phone. Let go of the screen. Relax. Raise your arms. And guys, let's start breathing. Just follow the rhythm. Very good. Very good, guys. Very good. 45 seconds of intense breathing, of really, really paying attention to the breath of life. Now, as you come out of it, check in, feel. Where's your number right now? Let us know in the live chat. Wow, indeed. 45 seconds. From 6 to 8 for Siobhan. My honey says 100. Agnieszka's at 10. Margaret, good. Very good. Margaret went from 8, 9. Awesome. Awesome. So, as always, the idea is to find
11.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, breaking the scale, breaking the zone. So the idea is to remind ourselves of those little things that are so effective. Oxygen, we need it for everything. Our body needs it. So basically notice when you, after a meal, maybe during the day, or just when you feel that you're slowly getting tired, notice, the idea, people go and they drink coffee, or they go and have anything else with caffeine, and not to talk against coffee, but what can you do in 45 seconds with intentional breath? How can you wake yourself up? How can you pump yourself up with oxygen, with everything that you need? Your brain starts working better. Your body starts working better. So easy. So this is basically a super pill without the pill. Just remind yourself multiple times a day to do that. Very good, Illy. Illy has been doing the Wim Hof and Dr. Dispenza, and powerful practices. These are great teachers, so they have amazing videos and everything out there. So now let's dive into today's topic, and that is the real new age. And you've used the term new age. I mean, it's for, some people use it as a cuss word and a way to label others. Some people use it to describe their awakened belief system. Some people use it to describe the general situation that we're experiencing on a planet, but there's definitely a lot more to it than we think. So the term was coined in the early 20th century, as far as we know. Some authors started using it, and basically, starting then, it was beginning to be used as this is this esoteric thing, and people are basically abandoning Christianity, abandoning their belief in God, and they're now jumping on a new age train. And then it had this huge uprising in 80 and 90, and of course, ever since then, it's kind of spread out everywhere. But what does it really mean? I mean, first of all, when people say esoteric, that's actually the opposite of what this is. Now, a lot of this knowledge used to be esoteric. Esoteric means that it was only available to a very small group of people throughout the ages. That is what esoteric really means. And that it used to be like that. So the understanding of vibration, of attraction, of what we now call law of attraction, law of resonance, the understanding of thoughts create your reality, manifest your reality, the understanding of that we are the powerful creators, that we co-create with the creator. That was something that was hidden from the public for the longest time, right? So there was always a very small group of people, even within the official institutions of the church, of the governments, of the philosophical leaders, of science. There was always a small group of people that had this, back then, esoteric knowledge. And this has been the release. It was brought out in the public over the last 100 and 150 years. And it is now available, and it has now become the new expression. Although it isn't new, it is basically just returning to the wisdom that's really within us. And we see this now as we move into this new age of the Aquarius. We can simply see that there is no stopping anymore. And for example, one of the things that I have a lot of friends from that are, that all believe in a higher consciousness. They all call it something different. And of course, we're here in the buckle of the Bible Belt in Tennessee, so it's Christian. But Christianity is experiencing the opening of understanding, which is actually really, really cool, because see, Christianity, or the following of the teachings of Christ, isn't really or for the longest time wasn't really what Christ by the church, by the Catholic Church, and down into a control system for the longest period of time. And we have now seen, the beautiful thing is that throughout, basically in the still 80s and 90s and even the early 2000s, it was very split up. There was a clear line between New Age believers and Christian believers. And it's beginning to understand that there's wisdom everywhere, that we have interpreted things, that we have misunderstood things, that knowledge and wisdom was missing, that the Bible is such an extensive work of teachings. It is not complete. There's at least 18 or 19 books missing. So once we understand that when we bring all of this together again, that it always was one core teaching, the teaching of the laws of the universe, really, and the power of the mind, the power of the spirit, and your co-creative power. And this is really what this new age means. It isn't a separate belief system that was just created by someone. It isn't like someone got up there and said, listen, law of attraction sounds really good. Might be something we could really sell well. And we're going to call this law of attraction, and we're going to tell people that if they just spend 2 minutes a day thinking about something, it's going to magically appear in their reality, right? There's always marketing. But aside from marketing, we're now seeing the deeper understanding from many, many people for how reality is constructed, for how beautifully everything works together. You bring quantum physics into that. You see that that's a discipline in science that is really completely open to the, not just idea, but to the knowing of higher consciousness. And quantum physics in itself says that the observer always influences that which is observed. So that in itself means it's expansive, like the universe. Everything is always expanding. So we're seeing this, basically, it's still slightly under the surface in the mainstream, but the main disciplines now in technology are, they're using fancy scientific terms to describe their process of trying to understand how creation works, if that makes sense. You have the giant collider in Switzerland, billion-dollar projects across the planet. Basically, it is all about trying to understand God better, trying to understand the process of creation. And New Age has certain qualities that we just didn't see before. So it is the discovery of the self not as a limited being in a limited experience, in a limited body, the discovery of the self, the creator. That's becoming more and more mainstream for people. It is something that you're now able to talk about, that humans are co-creators in our experience. We do create our reality. We do create with the creator together. We have this synergetic experience. We are eternal consciousness having a human experience. This is completely contrary to the belief that we're perpetuating over the centuries and the millennia. The idea was that we are human beings, completely flawed, disconnected, sinful from the get-go, and we have a soul. And somehow, if we suffer enough, if we are obedient enough, of course, and if we lead a life of sacrifice, then at the end we're going to be rewarded with paradise. Now, this idea is being blended with the understanding that paradise is a state, hell is a state, it's a state of being. So many people that worry about going to hell are actually living in hell as they are still alive. They're living in the hell of their imagination. They're living in the hell of their mind. And others are understanding that paradise is a place that you first built within you. You first become this being that focuses and really pays attention and has intention for the highest possible experience. And then as you create paradise within you, you create paradise all around you. So these really aren't metaphysical principles. They're very tangible, physical principles that we are now applying on the planet. People are beginning to understand that everything they think, everything they feel, everything they do has an effect, a very immediate and a long-term effect. We're beginning to understand all of these things. And authenticity is the word that we've been using throughout the year, because this is the age of authenticity. Once we discover who we really are, we apply ourselves authentically to life, to everything we do, to our enterprises, to our families, to our communities, to the social processes, to everything. We apply ourselves authentically. authentically, right? Is that the word? Thank you. Authentically. Horrible. I use it all the time. I forgot what it really is. So in this age, the age of Aquarius, and which is interesting too, because Aquarius, from the word aqua, which is water, of course, reminds me of the qualities also that we are seeing now more and more emerge within people, that we see more and more people find these qualities within them. And we've said this before. The water is such a wonderful, wonderful example of all the qualities that that we can and should live at this time in our human experience. Water is the best carrier of information that you could possibly think of. Water has the ability to carry information into your cells, carry information over infinite distance. So it does not get any less dense when it travels long distances in terms of information. You can literally infuse water with any kind of information you want, and you can bring this to the recipient through water. So that is a highly, an amazing quality that water has that we're just beginning to understand. Another quality of water is that it is steadfast and steady in its movement. So if water, for some reason, really cannot flow in the liquid state, it just changes its form and state. So it can melt, it can freeze, it can do all these things, and it accomplishes its task. Water is infinite. It is also the substance of all life. It is what we're, up to 75% or something that we're made of water. So how can we become more like water? This is such an important time to understand that. Water is highly important in the short term because you keep drinking that stuff. It's in here, right? We keep drinking it all the time. But also water lives for the ages and creates through the ages and moves through the ages. So it's the same as we need to understand that as humans, we have experience that is finite in this body. Now, finite experience, we still live like that and might change. We might get a deeper understanding, but we live for, I don't know, maybe 100, maybe 90, maybe 120 years. And that varies, but it's right now a finite number for the vast majority of people. So we have this desire to experience and create and live as much as we can within that period of time. That's short term. That's the, we just keep drinking out of the glass. But then there's the long term, is how do we apply ourselves to our human experience on this planet? How do we live with the planet? How do we live with people? How do we create? What do we create? How do we treat nature? How do we live with Mother Earth? How do we express ourselves? That's a long-term thinking. That's thinking beyond the span of a lifetime. That's what water does. Water flows and moves beyond the span of a lifetime. It moves through eternity. It sometimes takes thousands and thousands and thousands of years to make its way through a rock, to make its way through a mountain, to make its way through any barrier. So that's the long term. It applies itself in the long-term thinking. That's what we need to do too. Understand that we create for the future. We create for future generations. What we build now, they will live in and live with. What we leave behind, they will benefit from if we do it right. So that's important. It's like in business. I always say this, that we in the Western world, we have a short-term business goal. We think in quarters and in years, tops, because that's the quarterly report. That's the annual report. We have shareholders. We have revenues. We have profit that we think about. We want to hit the profit. We want to hit revenue. We want to hit the as fast as possible. We want to maximize our profit in the short term because we want to buy new that's coming out next year. But if you look at business in different cultures, if you look at even political ideas and movements, social movements, faith movements in different cultures, especially in the East, they think and feel for the long term. That's the age of the Aquarius now. We're now building for the long term. So our business plan needs to extend beyond 4 or 8 years. We need to go into decades and centuries. The principles that we still hold dear right now, especially in this country, because it was the first country that had a constitution by the people for the people, for example. So that's fairly young in terms of, you know, in terms of the human history, but it's a pretty long period already. So we go back to, you know, the late 1700s, 18th century, where the Constitution was created and written, and these principles we still live by. So they thought in longer terms. They understood that you needed principles and values enshrined that are stepping stone guidance system that help the future generations no matter where they are in their development. So that's how we also need to think as leaders in this age. That's why the teachings that are so important to us, why that we teach our students, we through the courses, are things that help you live your most authentic life, discover your purpose, discover your real desires and purpose. Because if you do that, you are on point with all of that. You are aligned with that long-term vision. You are the creator of that. Everyone then has this effect on all of it. And that's why this is so important to us. That's why the short term, how can I manifest something as fast as possible, isn't as important to us as creating, helping you create, or helping you discover and live that authenticity that then pulls everything in, that then creates everything. Only if you live authentically, only if you are who you truly were meant to be, only then all of these things start to click in a way that they otherwise couldn't. So that's the long term. That's the 100-year business plan. That's the 200-year business plan. That's the 1,000-year business plan. That's how far we believe we should think ahead, not to be there, live there, to understand that what we do needs to be looked at under the microscope, or under the looking glass of how will this live, you know, how will this age what we say, how will it age what we say, how will it age what we do, you know, is this something that you want to be around, an idea, a thought, a poem, a song, a movie, a book? Do you want to for these ideas to be around for the long term, or is it something that maybe just satisfies the need of the ego in the short term? So those are all really important things, and this is the age where this is all coming up. It's a new understanding, beautifully in it's merging. The religious ideas are beginning to be broader. The spiritual principles are merging. We're seeing a beautiful thing here happening. It takes a while. Everything is starting to shift, and there's turmoil, no doubt. There's chaos, no doubt. We see the short-term effects right now, but this is a long-term perspective that we're showing here, and the long-term perspective is wonderful. Long-term perspective is amazing. If we keep expanding on the path that we're on, if you keep living authenticity despite current developments in the world, if you keep living who you really are, despite the people around you that might not understand it yet, if you keep expressing your truth and expressing truth, even though it might not be the popular belief yet, you are the path builder of this. You forge the path for so many around you that can then, you know, just join in and shine their light also. So this is such an important for. Don't get us wrong, humans, we sometimes get caught up in the human processes. We sometimes get a little caught up in what's happening or the current events, but the current events are just a result of our thoughts and creations and expressions of the past. So likewise, what our dominant vibration is right now is always creating the next and the next and the next moment and future. So that needs to be the dominant attention, to remember that, to keep that in mind and bring it to the present moment, because then you create from now for what is coming, as always. And so as you know, as disturbing as some of this stuff is that we see, humanly speaking, of course, it's also, as if you will notice this, it's short-lived. It's very short-lived. We live in a very short, doesn't age well within a minute. It doesn't age well at all. It just appears. So non-authentic information has a way harder time now to stick around. It's just being completely transformed and transfused with light immediately. It's just nature this time, the nature of consciousness that's happening. So don't get too worried about short-lived information that's out there, that's flashy. We're seeing it disappear over the course of one news cycle or so. We're just seeing that things are changing on a grand scale. The powers that were so dominant, were believed to be so dominant, they're like hanging on a very thin thread right now, and holding on, as power always does. Power will hold on to the very last breath, and so be it. But it's over. The authentic, the beautiful, the real, the loving, the spirit, the godlike, everything, all of that is becoming dominant, and it cannot be stopped. It's a force of love. It's a force of love that just cannot be aggressive. It is what it is. It is love, the eternal fabric of the universe. So embrace that. Remember that this is a long-term game, and we need to step away from the short-term stuff every once in a while. And remember, this is a long-term game. We're creating something amazing and beautiful.
Amen.
Amen. So that's kind of the beginning of this new age. Nothing secret about it. Everyone's welcome in it. There's no more esoterics, conspiracies, or any of that. It's just a labor of love that is effortless and inspired, and that's what we're creating now. So, you can invite everyone in. There's really no preconditions. It's unconditional. Okie dokie. Let me see. It was pretty quiet in the chat today. Patrick's tuned in. Good to see you. Good to see you. Tunes in. I think it's
Philippines.
Oh, Philippines?
No, he's there now. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds
It's
horrible.
Like 4 a.m. in the morning.
Patrick, that sounds horrible. Man, if you have noticed in recent videos, I've been using footage from the Philippines, and I was just like editing, and I kept saying, honey, that's the next stop. We need to go to the Philippines. It's just so beautiful. Good to see you, Patrick, brother. Good to see you. Then Jay is asking, does anyone else hear the frequencies all around? I do when I'm feeling good or all the time. Yes, definitely. There's crispiness there sometimes. Yes, I can understand that. Like Bruce Lee said, be like water. I didn't know he said that.
Me neither.
I didn't know, but I love Bruce Lee, and I'm going through different stages. It's always an upscale thing, but I'm going through different stages, and I keep coming back to this Gambo thing. I feel like I'm meditating. I feel really, really wonderful, aligned with everything, and I feel Gandhi. Although he was better, don't get me wrong. He was a spiritual fighter. He was as tough as you can come, but always connected to the highest. But people don't understand that about Gandhi. He was a tough nail. He's a tough son of a gun, and every measure short of violence, everything. If it wasn't violent, I mean, he was on it. He fought the tough fights in South Africa, in India. If you study Gandhi, you'll see that people underestimate the power that this little guy had. And then there's the energy of Rambo, and I kind of, over this year, I've been feeling the energies of Rambo and Gandhi. So I came up with Gambo. I feel like Gambo sometimes. But yeah, that's a good one. And I love Bruce Lee. What a master. My God, what a master. Siobhan says water crystals by Masaru Emoto. So beautiful. There's so much beautiful wisdom on water. Just go and check it out. We're just beginning to understand, we're drinking water, but then you need to be able to translate those thoughts into feelings. Only then will you experience authentic truth. Up here, it's very limited to how you can perceive it. So that's the trickle down effect that's going to have to happen for people, and they do it in their own time. But it is happening. It is happening faster than ever, especially this year. What we've seen in people transformation was just nothing short of amazing. Patrick says, all good, brother. Good. Yeah, Gambo sounds badass, right? I even have a little, can I share a picture here? No, I can't, right? I even found this awesome, wait, I might, you know what? Give me a second here. I just might find something that I can at least share the link with you guys. I'm on the browser, so I'm gonna find one that, here we go. Well, let me use this one. It's maybe not exactly, I kind of didn't really need the gun for this, but I couldn't find one. Here's a picture you can look at. Now, just lose the gun. I don't need a gun. It's not about that, but it's just about the merging of the face and the body. It's really funny, actually. So yeah, Inspired Tribe. We love that you join us. If you're just tuning in, come back and rewatch. This is one that you know, you want to put in your liked folder, just because you're gonna come to it in a while and see the things that we talk about here, how they are manifesting in the real world, and how these qualities are becoming more and more visible. Please, as kind of in closing, please do not get discouraged or misled anymore. Listen, the operators of the old paradigm are using the same old tricks. They have their toolbox. That's all they know. They can't understand anything else. They know there's a awakening of the consciousness, but they don't understand it. They know there's an awakening of the spirit, but they don't understand it. They know that there's an awakening of the mind, but they don't understand it. That's it. That's why we see the same things happening over, always the same. Because they cannot access higher consciousness. If they could, they wouldn't operate the way they do. Because once you access higher consciousness, there's no need for you to operate on these low levels. Okay, that's so clear. But they can't. So don't allow yourself to be manipulated by an energy, by a frequency that is in its nature so much lower than you are. And it hurts to do that. What happens? You get a headache. You feel dizzy. You feel tired. You feel out of balance. Why? Because you are allowing yourself to be manipulated by a frequency that is way below you, right? So this is why you then feel bad when you consume the media, when you believe the lies, when you buy into the false narratives. Allow yourselves to turn it off and to shift into your true experience. And your authentic experience is very, very wise. It tells you authenticity from non-authenticity, truth from lies, facts from fiction, stuff like that, you know? So that in closing, Inspired Tribe, thank you for joining us. Please do check out the merch store. Kristin has created some amazing things in the last months, co-created. I know Illy has helped in the creation of one, our own Illy in the Inspired Tribe. We love her dearly. Illy, we love you, and all of you, of course. So check it out. We have so many, and people send us pictures, you know, when they get their package, and then they send us pictures from the beach with the, you know, the hoodie or with the t-shirt that they wear and with the beautiful message. And I can't think of anything that is, to me, that I love more than when I'm out in public and someone enters the store, enters the cafe or whatnot, and they have just a beautiful message on their shirt, right? Something that just says, oh yeah, you know, love yourself, or all the other beautiful things. You know, everything is always working out for me. That's the best seller in our store. Like, that's by far outsells everything else. And check out our website, inspiredchannel.net. We have the membership calls every Wednesday. We have courses that are on there. We have the opportunity to book a one-on-one session with EUCY. We desire, it's our inspiration to offer these possibilities. We see the beautiful things that are happening. People that have like breakthrough experiences, transformational experiences. Sometimes it's a course, sometimes it's a EUCY call, sometimes it's a membership call. It's all about inspired, moving forward, transformation, authenticity, love. That's what our little inspired empire is built on. So, Tribe, thank you for joining us. We love you. Keep up the breath work. Remind yourself of that. Be the light that you are. We love you dearly. You are the tribe. You're the Inspired Tribe, and we love you. If you have questions, ideas, send us an email, leave a comment. Other than that, we'll see you on Monday, 2 p.m. Central Standard, right here for the next live stream. If anything really significant happens and we want to chime in on it, we'll let you know. We'll be here. Right, tribe? Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week. We love you. Be the light.